Tuesday that it arrested and indicted 2 suspects for evading criminal charges and assisting in the evasion of criminal charges. The investigation revealed that the company in question had been collecting nude photos of young adults and threatened to distribute them if they failed to repay their debts.
국민의힘은 이른바 부산 돌려차기 사건과 관련해 형법상 형량을 대폭 강화하고 가해자 신상 공개를 확대하는 방안을 추진하겠다고 밝혔습니다. 국민의힘은 먼저 가해자가 보복을 암시하며 피해자에게 2차 가해를 할 경우 형량을 대폭 강화하는 형법 개정을 검토하고 사적 제재 논란을 차단하기 위해 신상 공개 기준 완화와 대상을 확대하는 방안도 논의하기로 했습니다.
The People Power Party, PPP, announced that it will pursue measures to significantly strengthen penalties under the law and expand the public disclosure of offenders in the so-called Busan roundhouse kick case. The ruling party plans to consider amending the law to significantly increase penalties in cases where perpetrators imply retaliation and inflict secondary harm on the victims. They also discussed easing the criteria for public disclosure and expanding the scope of individuals subject to such disclosure to prevent controversies regarding private sanctions.
최근 치러진 고등학교 전국연합학력평가의 특정 영어 지문이 유명 강사의 문항과 유사하다는 의혹에 대해 문제 출제를 주관한 부산시 교육청은 우연의 일치일 뿐이라고 일축했습니다. 부산시 교육청은 오늘 해당 지문은 도서 원문에서 발췌해 출제했을 뿐이라고 해명했습니다.
The Busan Metropolitan Office of Education was accused of using test questions similar to those created by a famous lecturer during the recent National Unified Scholastic Aptitude Test. However, it dismissed the allegations as a mere coincidence. The office explained that the question was selected from original text and that it had no relation to the English education book in question.
부산 도심의 이색적인 골목에서 다채로운 음식과 문화를 체험할 수 있는 2023 부산 골목 페스티벌 행사가 열립니다. 부산시와 부산관광공사는 부산 골목의 맛과 밤을 주제로 오는 17일부터 7월 2일까지 매주 주말 부산 진구 전포 공국길, 영도구 봉산마을, 수영구 망미골목 일대에서 행사를 개최합니다.
An event offering various food and culture of the unique alleyways of downtown Busan is in the works. Busan City and the Busan Tourism Organization, BTO, announced today that they will hold the 2023 Busan Alleyway Festival every weekend from the 17th of this month until July 2nd in the districts of Busanjin, Yeongdo, and Suyang. The theme of this year's festival is Flavors and Nights of Busan Alleyways.
끝으로 날씨입니다. 부산 지방 내일 아침 기온 20도, 낮 기온 26도로 오늘과 비슷하겠습니다. 부산의 현재 기온 24도입니다.
Busan's morning temperatures will average 20 degrees Celsius, with afternoon highs expected to reach 26 degrees Celsius. Temperatures are currently averaging at 24 degrees Celsius. It's time to wrap up this hour's news. I'm Annie Munn.
호정우였습니다.
Thank you for joining. You are listening to BEFM 부산영어방송.
Your best choice. BEFM 부산 영어 방송.
9년 전 한국에서의 새로운 출발을 위해 부산을 처음 찾은 프랭크. 부산의 자연과 사람, 부산에서 누리는 모든 것을 사랑하는 그는 부산의 변함없는 한대에 늘 감탄합니다.
I think that Busan people are actually very, very kind and very welcoming. If I seemed a little lost, there was always someone that was there to ask me if I needed help. They're more seriously friendly than it's very serious. I very seriously want to help you.
부산의 한결같은 모습도 늘 감동을 주지만 이제는 부산의 미래를 꿈꾸며 2030년 부산의 새로운 도약을 기대합니다.
Busan people are very proud of their city. They want to share the city with everyone. If we get the World Expo, it'll really put Busan on a global map.
세계 박람회가 어울리는 도시, 미래를 향한 힘찬 도약. 부산에서 출발한 파도는 이미 세계를 향해 뻗어 나가고 있습니다. 2030 부산 세계 박람회. 부산이 시작하고 대한민국이 함께 이뤄갑니다. 이 캠페인은 지역과 함께하는 든든한 동반자 BNK 부산은행과 함께합니다.
Coming up next is Inside Out Busan with Laura McLucky and Minsu Shin. BFM 부산영어방송.
Hello, hello. Good evening and welcome to the show. Question, do you think you are healthy? Or are you always worrying about your health?
Many of us are, right? I bet you find yourself spending hours on the internet researching about health information.
Yeah, or like, you get a little bit of a scratchy throat.
Yeah.
And you automatically think, I'm dying.
Right? It looks it up and it's like you either have a cold or you're dying.
Or you're dying. Yes.
Yeah. So if this sounds like you, maybe or even like a relative or friend nearby, it may be due to health anxiety. So this is actually called a new symptom of anxiety in modern society. 건강염려증이라고 합니다.
I wonder how many of us have it.
Oh, I bet you many of us.
Is this like hypochondriac?
A little bit, I think.
Yeah.
You're just afraid that you have everything.
I'm sick.
Me too.
I'm
I
so
have
sick.
everything. I have
I'm
everything.
just sick of being up this late. I want to go to bed.
This is late.
This is Inside Out Busan. I'm Laura McLucky.
And I'm Minsu Shin.
I've gotta find my baby yet. I need you to soothe my head, turn my blue heart to red. Doctor, doctor, give me the news. I got a bad case of loving you. No pills gonna cure my ill. I got a bad case of loving you. A pretty face don't make no pretty heart. I learned that, but it's from the start. You think I'm cute, a little bit shy. Mama, I ain't that kind of guy. Doctor, doctor, give me the news. I got a bad case of loving you. No pills gonna cure my ill. I got a bad case of loving you. I know you like it. You like it on top. Tell me, mama, are you gonna stop? You had me down, but 21 is it. Smile of you is on your lip. Shake my fist, knock on wood. I've got it bad.
Yeah. That
Love that ending.
was Robert Palmer, Bad Case of Loving You. Love that to kick off the show today. Tuesday blues, anyone?
여기요. 한
진짜?
명 추가.
헐.
네. I don't know what it is. Is it the weather?
Maybe a little bit of the weather. Also, it's Tuesday. Also, 나이 먹으면서 그래요.
또 나이로 간다.
예.
아, 슬프다.
아니야.
맞아요.
It's just
we can't start the
Tuesday
show like
home.
this.
Yeah.
But, the older you get, we are a bit worried. Like, is this just a thing, or is this like my body kind of like
맞아요.
slowly like breaking down?
And then so I look it up on the internet and I'm like, I'm dying.
맞아요, right? I've heard from somewhere, like the internet is one of the worst places you could go for like a diagnosis of what you
of
have.
course, yes.
Right?
Because the internet will give you no help.
No help or the worst help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they give you like the worst of
Yeah.
the worst of
It's
situation.
really, really bad.
Yeah.
But health is a really, it's a foremost concern for most people, especially these days. It's, it doesn't matter what age you are. Social media, younger generations are readily sharing their symptoms, prevention strategies, treatments for various things. And, you can't experience happiness in life without your health. Health is wealth.
맞아요.
Right?
But 관계 문제입니다. When you put focus on it a bit too much. So people with what we mentioned, health anxiety, often misinterpret normal or even light physical symptoms and attribute them to something even more serious, right? So for example, if they were to, I don't know, like sleep on their arm, right? And they wake up, like instead of, like normally you just kind of shake off the feeling, oh, like maybe I slipped on my arm. But then these days, I don't know, like maybe, like for me, like the older I get, wait, is this going to be permanent? Is this how I'm going to be from now on?
오버쟁이들. 그러게 하지 마.
그래요. 저 조금 있어요. 네.
So from now on 건강 염려증 자가 진단 테스트를 해보겠습니다.
Okay.
Okay, number
네.
1. If you were to have a medical checkup now, something would be identified as amiss.
그럴 것 같아요. Because I feel like there's always something wrong with me.
Well, there you go. It's a mindset, Minsu.
Yeah.
There's never anything wrong with me. I'm always perfectly healthy.
난 시작이 안 좋다. Okay, number 1.
You find yourself constantly seeking health information online.
Okay, this is what I try to avoid.
Okay.
But if like stuff gets serious for me, like I gotta see what other people like are going through. Like, is there like anybody out there?
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Of course. If you are, then other people are. Okay, third one. This is what I do. If you read a news story about a disease, you start thinking that you have it. Especially mental health-wise, I'm like, that sounds like me. That sounds like me.
근데 이거는
Sounds like
저는
me.
아니에요. Like I don't know. Maybe it's
항상.
because I don't read the news.
그래. It's only when Dr. Yu's in here
Yeah.
and he's like, blah, 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 ADHD. And I'm
Yeah.
always like, that sounds like me every time.
I'll be honest. Like Inside Out Busan is one of my main sources of information.
Same. When I was on maternity leave, I had no idea what was going on in the world. That's one of the reasons I had to come back.
So whenever 작가님 writes in the script stuff about health,
Yeah.
that's when I know.
That's when you know.
Is there something wrong with me?
Number 4, you always discuss your symptoms with friends, family members, and colleagues. And by the way, they don't like it.
Oh.
That's not in the test, I'm just telling
So
you.
like a pet peeve at the office.
I'm really ill. I'm so ill again.
Maybe a bit
Stop
TMI
it.
sometimes too, right?
Or when you get like a scratchy coat and you automatically jump to the worst case scenario rather than thinking, I've got a cold.
So number 5 and I feel like number 2
Mm.
are very much linked, right?
Well, yes. But if you check more than 3, you're more likely to suffer from health anxiety. So
난
in the
딱
back
세
of your
개였던 것
mind,
같은데.
yeah.
I was
세 개?
Yeah. Like I'm exactly 3. I said yes to number 1, number 4,
Yeah.
and number 5.
Well, there you go.
1, 4, 5.
Yeah.
그래서 여러분 이 중에서 여러분은 어떤 건강 염려증이 있습니까? Do you tend to think the worst
Yeah.
about what you have? Do you always confide in your coworkers or your friends about what you have?
See, I'm the opposite, actually. I always think I'm pretty invincible.
That's a good mindset to have,
I'm
I think.
invincible.
Until the day you're not.
Challenge accepted. Anyway,
Yeah. So
let's-
health anxiety.
yeah.
This stuff a lot of people
Let's
going
stay
through.
healthy, everybody.
네.
Don't worry about it too much.
맞아요.
Anyway, coming up next, we've got News Bites with Annie. Yes, News Bites with Annie. Annie's in the studio. Hi, Annie.
Hi.
Hi. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm just trying to figure out this headset situation here.
Oh,
I'm good.
oh, is the cable too short?
Well, I got our trusty mic holding it down.
Oh, nice. I'm a little MacGyver out there. Annie,
Yes.
do you think you have health anxiety?
Yes.
Oh, like how
I
many
like-
were you checking off when we were listing off the
I wasn't even listening.
symptoms?
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. So
I
how
don't
do you?
talk to other people about it though,
Okay.
because
Do you?
I feel like if I put it out into the universe, it's gonna come
Oh,
true.
it becomes
exactly.
true.
Yeah.
Thoughts become things.
Okay. Then, I don't know. Do you scour the internet, search the internet for
yeah, every
your symptoms
time.
and stuff?
And then I just have to sit there and be like, nah, I'm fine. I'm all right.
Gonna be all right.
You have
Do
to
some
talk.
breathing tests.
You have to talk yourself
my
out of
heart
it,
rate,
right?
yeah.
Oh, health anxiety more common than you would think. I think in a lot of us. Well, thank you so much for joining us for today's News Bites. What do you got for us?
Right. First, Seoul National University's disciplinary committee has decided to fire former Justice Minister Cho Guk as a law professor today. And this decision actually comes 3 years and 5 months after he was indicted without detention on charges of accepting bribes. This was back in December 2019. And he was actually initially relieved of his position at the university in January 2020, but that does not mean he was fired. And in February of this year, Cho was sentenced to 2 years in prison after he was found guilty of corruption in his children's entrance exams. He accepted a sum of money and also for covering up the inspection of Yoo Jae-soo, who was the former deputy mayor of Busan.
Okay, so this is what has happened to Cho Guk up to this point. Now, you mentioned he was sentenced back in February, but I figured that's an automatic firing. Why is he being fired now?
Right. Well, according to the Seoul National University's teacher disciplinary regulations, if a professor or teacher violates laws or other acts that undermine his dignity as a teacher, or no, professor, I should say here, the president of the university can request the teacher disciplinary committee to vote on disciplinary actions. So it just wasn't put into action just yet. The former Seoul National University president Oh Se-jung requested a disciplinary decision in July of last year, actually, after delaying the disciplinary process because the prosecution's indictment alone had limitations in proving his guilt.
I see.
It's just a process.
Yeah.
Yeah, part of the process. I wonder, what kind of feeling that must be to get the letter you got fired
Yeah.
while you're in prison, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But that's how the story goes, all right? Well, thank you so much for that update. What's next?
Right. The presidential office today announced that they are awaiting an appropriate measure from China, and this is in response to Ambassador Jing Haiming's recently strongly worded remarks about South Korea's ties with the U.S. during a dinner meeting with opposition leader Lee Jae-myung. I believe I brought the story earlier on. A senior presidential official said in a briefing later in the day that as the highest-ranking diplomat in Korea from China, it is the duty of the diplomat to resolve issues privately, no matter how strongly they feel about it, and that they should work to create friendly relations in front of the citizens. And this is in reference to the fact that it was live streamed.
So here's a question though. Has there been any word or been any action from the Chinese side, from China's side? of
Right.
things?
So that was our side.
Yeah.
From the China side, they had a regular briefing today, and the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman, Wang Wenbin, was asked about his position on South Korea's request for this appropriate measure. And instead of directly answering this question, he actually pointed to issues of Korean media reports on Ambassador Xing. He added it was unfortunate that the media resorted to personal attacks. And this was actually in reference to reports in Korea about the ambassador getting free accommodation at a luxury resort while he was on a trip in Ulleungdo with his wife. So experts are kind of seeing this as them rejecting to take measures and also just indirectly expressing no intentions to replace the ambassador. So nothing's coming.
Nothing's coming, but I'm sure you'll keep us updated. There's always back and forth with
Of
these
course,
kind of
yes.
things, right?
Yeah,
It's difficult.
I still think it's so weird that they had broadcast a dinner to take place in somebody's house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think any good can come out of that.
Well, that is what
An
it is.
ambassador's house is free reign.
Yeah,
apparently.
That's true. And they
Actually, I
had
don't know if
media
that's
there.
true, but-
And they had the media reporters
Right,
there too,
yes.
right? To document it. Interesting. Our last bit of news, please.
Right. There are some talks about minimum wage plans, and labor management have failed to see eye to eye. So there there was the fourth plenary session of the Minimum Wage Council that was held to discuss next year's minimum wage. And the labor side and the management side have failed to see eye to eye on the issue of applying different minimum wages for different industries. So, everyone would have a different minimum wage. And this method of having different minimum wage rates for each industry was actually only done the first year that the minimum wage concept was actually introduced, which was back in 1988. And committee members argued that the self-employed and small business owners were facing difficulties financially, adding that in 2021, self-employed owners made less than the minimum wage, so they need differing wage levels.
Right. So how can they, provide or meet the standard of like big businesses when obviously they can't
difficult
follow?
to start.
Right. Then what did the Workers' Committee have to say about this?
Right. So the Workers' Committee actually countered that the difficult situation for self-employed and small business owners is actually due to our economic structure here in Korea, which is basically centered on large companies, 대기업, and also chaebol, and that applying the minimum wage differently by industry could actually reduce job seekers and cause this like stigmatization effect. They added that minimum wage plans for stabilizing the lives of these platform workers should be discussed more actively in different ways rather than trying to vary it through industries and solving it through that method.
Yeah. I mean, I could see the need, obviously, everybody coming from different backgrounds, right? Having different standards when it comes to life. Oh, but minimum wages, I feel like, is always like one of the most sensitive issues when it comes to our economy.
I definitely watch closely as well.
Oh, yeah. Probably a lot of talks, planned ahead for this.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Annie, thank you so much. That'll do it for today's News Bites. See you tomorrow.
All right. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Annie.
It's NSYNC! Tearing up my heart.
And no matter what I do, I feel the pain with or without you. Hey. Baby, I don't understand just why we can't be lovers. Things are getting out of hand.
I was Team NSYNC all the way.
Yeah, me too.
In high school.
Justin's little ramen hair.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say that too. How he
was
got
my
it so
favorite.
perfectly every time.
He was my favorite from the very beginning.
Yeah, but I'm so glad he went solo later.
Yeah.
Because I love solo Justin JT more than
Yeah.
NSYNC JT.
Cry me a river.
Oh, 맞아. Senorita. Anyways, hello everybody.
Welcome back to the show. Inside Out Busan, I'm Laura McLucky.
And I'm Min Soo Shin. Thank you so much for hanging out with us
Yeah.
today. Everybody on the radios, thank you so much for listening. Everybody on our YouTube, hello, hello, hello.
Hiya. Oh, look
Yeah.
at this. I'm going in and out of this little app. Oh no, where did the comments go? I've lost them again.
You mean comments, people leaving in our chats on our YouTube?
Yeah. I keep losing it. Where is it?
It's a bit difficult to handle that tablet PC that we have. So
It's really
for
annoying.
for watchers on our YouTubes, if you've noticed, Laura and I have changed positions. Because yes, I guess I kind of am in the driver's seat again today.
you're the
right?
boss now.
Not really the boss. I mean, it's our show, right? I just do the grunt work, lifting up the knobs and putting them down.
knobs. Don't say knobs in a polite radio station.
Well, they are. Right?
Lifting up the knobs.
They're dials, whatever you call them. But hello to everybody on our YouTubes. Wheeler Karma님, hello, 출첵 1등 고고. And then 류상효 원장님, 카르마 출첵 2등 고고. And they're having this whole back and forth thing. Dr. Ryu, banga.
They never talk to us. They just talk to each other.
맞아요. So once again, we love the community thing happening on our YouTube, but we're here too.
I'm just checking how if there's a delay. I'm going to put my arms up now, and then I'm going to see. Anyway, that's not what we're here to do. Is
Yes.
look at ourselves on YouTube. But please do come and look at us on YouTube.
맞아요.
put
그럼 join
lipstick
us.
on today.
It's a party.
It is a party. By the way, weather-wise, it's currently averaging 24 degrees Celsius here in Busan. Morning lows of 20, afternoon highs of 26 degrees Celsius. Mostly sunny skies with good air quality tomorrow. Strong sunshine will beam down, boosting UV rays to high levels. So be careful. But it will be a good day to do laundry because it's not going to be humid.
Oh, good.
Thanks, 작가님.
This is what gets me, the humidity.
내일 맑고 자외선 지수가 높은데요.
네.
습하지 않아서 발레하기 좋은 날이라고 합니다.
네, 아이고, 너무 감사합니다. When it comes to our traffic, we have congestion on the Buam overpass from Jinyang Junction going towards Yeonji three-way intersection. Also on Ulsukdo-대로 from Ulsukdo-Daegyo Junction going towards Sinpyeong Jangnim Sanopdanji Junction. And then we have slow-moving traffic on Geoje-대로 from Songgong three-way intersection going towards the Hamajong Junction, Laura's favorite junction of all
Favorite
time.
junction, 함화정.
Everybody,
Drive safe.
부탁드립니다.
Yeah, drive
네.
safe. Very important that you drive safe because we care about you and we care about Busan.
Of course, right? Yeah, still, I think prime 퇴근 hour
그렇지.
right now.
Yeah. Prive drive time. No,
Prive drive time.
Prime time.
Prive drive time it
Prime
is.
time.
According to Laura.
You know?
여러분, 네,
You know.
운전하세요 부탁드립니다.
Yes. Okay. By the way, it's time for the IOB 5분 상식. I'm excited now to catch you off guard with like the really, really bad segues to the IOB 5분 상식.
Oh, like the ones that caught our PD off guard?
5분 상식.
Oh, I always have my finger on the dial.
Yeah,
all
you are
right?
getting you in the know of some of the most trending, useful, need-to-know words and expressions in the world. 5분만 들으시면 유식해지는 시간이죠.
네, 오늘의 5분 상식은요. 캐나다 산불로 발령된 코드 퍼플, Cold Purple에 대해 알아보도록 하겠습니다. Good evening, folks. This is Min Soo Shin, your Washington correspondent. A code purple has been issued due to the forest fire in Canada. Let's go live to the scene and interview some people dealing with the smoke. Excuse me, sir. How are you coping with the smoke from the Canadian forest fires?
Oh, it's been tough. The air quality is terrible and it's affecting my breathing.
I've lived here for 25 years. I never expected this to happen.
Terrible, just terrible. Excuse me, ma'am. How are you coping with the smoke from the Canadian forest fires?
Oh my gosh, it's terrible. The smoke is causing breathing difficulties and it's affecting our daily lives.
Terrible indeed. So this is the first ever Code Purple issued in Washington. Experts explain that it is difficult to quell the flames as dry weather continues in the region. Excuse me, young lady, how are you dealing with the Code Purple situation?
Oh, code purple? Oh, like, I totally love purple. It's like my favorite color.
No, ma'am. I mean the forest fire smoke. How's it affecting you?
Oh, yeah, sure. So it makes my eyes water a little bit, but my dress code is purple, so I kind of love it. Also, I got like a purple mask, so that's like a perfect combination.
Back to you guys in Busan.
She was very irresponsible. I didn't like her.
Yeah.
작가님, why do you write these characters that we hate so much?
Well, today for Laura, she's giving the 2 thumbs up to you, right?
Thank you.
It's like a deal with it, 2 thumbs up.
Great.
But I mean, you know, it's the fire in the Canadian region. It's affecting everybody. Of course, you know, and everybody has their different thoughts on it. But yeah, the thick smoke and the haze, I'm sure you've seen pictures of it on social media. I saw this, they kind of like did a time lapse of it, right? It went from like 8 a.m. to like 12 p.m.
Yeah.
And like just like the sky and like you couldn't even see like the outlines of the buildings because the smoke had engulfed the entire region. So New York City skylines turned orange. And brought some of the worst air quality levels in the Northeast, a North American region that they have seen in decades, right? And obviously due to the wildfires burning in Canada. So this is why a Code Purple air quality alert has been issued in Washington, D.C. So what does Code Purple mean when it comes to these types of situations?
Okay, so basically the US EPA, the US Environmental Protection Agency, issued a Code Purple air quality alert, which indicates very unhealthy air conditions for the entire public, not just those with respiratory illnesses. So Code Purple is the second worst of the 6 color-coded levels in the AQI, Air Quality Index. The Air Quality Index will be between 201 and 300 when it's Code Purple.
Okay, so right now then, how bad is the wildfire in Canada and how serious is it affecting the people there?
Okay, so it's not the wildfire. There's currently 450 active wildfires burning in Canada. So there's more than 4.8 million acres burned already. And that's according to the Canadian Interagency Forest Fire Centre. So smoke from Canadian forest fires is not only spreading obviously across Canada, but not just to Washington and New York as well, residents in the Northeast US, but it's also spreading across to Europe.
Goodness.
So smoke from Canadian wildfires has been hitting Norway and flowing down through, I don't know, air pathways to southern Europe as well.
Yeah, it just goes to show you just how big the fires are, right?
Yeah.
Now, how then is this amount of smoke going to affect the health of people there?
So it's called haze, like fire smoke is often called haze. Particles in haze are so small, like they're 30 times smaller than the diameter of a human hair, that they can go into the lungs. And of course, the lungs are a direct link into the bloodstream. So according to the study, the AQI measurement of 150 would be the equivalent of smoking 7 cigarettes in one day.
Jeez.
So under such a warning, all people should stay indoors as much as possible, wear N95 or KN95 masks if you are outdoors. Very, very seriously bad health situation.
Yeah. And this is probably, you know, in Canada as well as in the U.S., that New York area, all the way to Washington, D.C., they are recommending people to stay indoors. But I feel like this is something that we're going to see, like, you know, fallout of this in like years to come, people health getting like worsening because of this, all the smoke in the air, right? Serious stuff. So we do hope that they do get a handle on the active wildfires. 450 of them. My goodness.
Crazy time.
Yeah. 네, 오늘의 5분 상식. 워싱턴 DC에서 사상 처음 발령된 코드 Code Purple이란 미국 환경보호청이 측정하는 6개의 대기질 지수 AQI 중 두 번째로 나쁜 단계입니다. 모든 시민의 건강에 심각한 위협이 될 수 있다는 뜻입니다. 오늘의 5분 상식이었습니다. 김대리, 퇴근하나?
예, 부장님.
집이 괴종이지? 같은 방향인데 같이 가지? 요즘 회사 생활 어떤가?
예, 저 열심히 잘하고 있습니다.
결혼 생활도 재밌지?
예, 뭐 즐겁죠, 예. 그 라디오라도 좀.
그래, 라디오.
네가 저번 주에 오신 참인 것 같네.
22번 훈련병!
진짜 회사 생활 쉽지 않다. 어색한 이 순간 인사이드 아웃 부산과 함께하세요. 오늘은
TMI Busan.
Oh, TMI Busan.
TMI.
Too much information, but this is information that we all need from Haley, who's in the studio with us. Hi, Haley.
Hello, good evening.
Haley. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's
Good.
hot outside. Girl, it hot.
I haven't heard that girl in a very long time, right? I feel like I'm back home. Girl.
It is hot
Yeah.
outside. I wore a cardigan to work this evening.
You wore a thick cardigan to work
I
this
did.
evening.
But it's cold here.
Baby, it's cold inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If listeners, if you visit our radio station and you see like Annie and our news anchors do the news in Studio A, right, the studio next to us, it's even colder in there.
We need
Yeah.
the machines to stay cool. Although none of us, there are 3 humans in the studio, and none of us know how to dress for the weather because we have Min Soo Shin in shorts, a short sleeve, short pants, and the brand, the shoes, the
Yes.
rubber shoes.
Yes.
And then we have Laura with like a wintertime cardigan that I think I've seen you wear in the winter.
Definitely have.
Yeah, and here we are. We don't know what season this is.
Yeah. We're just
We
ready for anything.
What's climate change for you?
Prepared.
Yeah.
Also, maybe
Collectively,
we are
we
just a little bit out of our minds. That's also appropriate.
맞아요. It's only
probably
acceptable
true.
here, right?
Yeah.
Well, TMI Busan, Haley, news coming out of our city. What do you got for us?
All right. First off, here's a little quiz for you. Yay! What is Busan's population? 10 points if you can get it off the top of your head.
3.65 million.
3.45 million.
Oh, Laura was closer. Yeah, and you may have been right like 10 years ago. But sadly, our population is...
Oh, you mean in 2023?
yeah,
Stop
like-
it.
Oh my God. Have you no shame?
맞아요.
No.
None.
Well, according to Statistics Korea, Busan's population as of May was 3.3 million.
My goodness.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to make it a little better, 3 million.
It's going down for real.
Down. No, well,
Why do you have to put this song on this news? That song on
so
this
sad.
news?
It's 3,309,000
That's
to be
crazy
specific, right? And this is a decline of 2,100 people from just a month ago.
What?
So 2,100 people left our city in a span of a month.
Where are they going?
Where'd it go?
Mostly to the capital. I mean, to answer your question, many of them to Gyeongnam, but most, if they're especially young people, to the capital area in search of jobs.
Yeah.
So we are at the cusp of falling below that 3.3 million line. So if I ask you this question, maybe in a few months, that might be closer to 3.2 million. So Busan City has seen an average of minus 2,381 people each month.
Each month.
Each month.
So a month ago, that was like an okay month for us then, because you've seen less than the average.
that was a below average
But
fall,
still,
right?
geez.
So, even my conservative estimates, if we continue to see this, negative 1,500 to 2,000 people leaving the city per month, then we're going to drop below 3.3 million by, fourth quarter of this year.
Wowzers.
So, yikes.
그래 말이에요. And with the leaving of almost 2,400 people every month, we're also seeing a decline in the working age population here in our city.
That's right. So it's another concern because it's not just anyone who's leaving, it's young people that are leaving. So by working age population, 생산 인구, we mean people between the ages of 15 and 64. And that group has been decreasing at a faster rate than the overall population. So according to Statistics Korea's future populations predictions, Busan is expected to have only 2 million people, that's 200만 명, by the year 2034. And that's close. I mean, yeah, that's in 11 years.
Yeah.
However, here's a little bit of a silver lining. Have you guys heard of this living population, 생활 인구?
Living population, isn't that
As
just
opposed to a
population?
dead population, but people who kind of live here and do their activities here. So officially, we only count the population by the number of people who have their official residences in Busan.
Okay.
But we also have people from Gyeongnam, Changwon, Ulsan, etc., who drive or subway or train here for work or who do like 한 달 살기 because it's a great city for 한 달 살기. You should check it out. But so if we count those people who come here for work, school, even medical treatments, who visit Busan regularly, then that number will increase, which is very important in terms of, funding, stipends, the projects that we pursue, etc.
I wonder if Seoul or other major cities count that.
I think they
well.
are kind of trying to decrease their population. Well, I mean, depends on whether that's a younger population because Seoul is aging, I think, at a faster rate or as fast as Busan, where their birth rate is dead lowest in the entire country.
That's concerning.
So yeah, that is. Whenever we
That's
talk
very
about
strange,
the population in Korea, it is very concerning.
I think as well, there's a lot of talk about it, but it's not like the action is not coming fast enough
Right.
for it to be a change that we see right now. Because it would be great for us to be able to say, okay, the city is really working hard because they are. They
absolutely.
really are. To keep these younger people in Busan, to stop people from, migrating out to the capital and offering new jobs, more investment, etc., etc. It would be great if it was just okay, it's done. ready
Right,
to
but
go.
it's so complicated because
not.
it's jobs, which means industries, investments, and then it's, population birth rate, which is marriage, housing, childcare, gender equality. It's such a complicated issue.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what we're supposed to do.
That's the facts. This is where
That's
we
the
are.
facts.
Right.
Don't leave.
Stay.
Yeah.
It's a great city.
Anybody thinking about going somewhere else? 진짜 가지 마세요. 네.
I say that, but I'm leaving next week.
I mean, but for a week,
I'll come
though,
on
right?
a midnight train.
I'll come back.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Don't play with our hearts like that, all right? All right, well, thank you so much for that. What's next?
All right, our second issue, going to this aging city issue, elderly pedestrian accidents. Right, so the risks of fatal pedestrian accidents, especially among senior citizens, that is on the rise. So according to Busan Metropolitan Police, there were 46 pedestrians who died from traffic accidents last year. And of these, 32 of them were age 65 or older. So at 69.6%, this is actually considered higher than the national average of roughly 60%. So the problem is that the number of fatal pedestrian accidents involving senior citizens, well, this figure has been on the rise. So back in 2018, just nationwide, it was 56% out of all fatal accidents, but that jumped by 3 points to 59 last year. And this rate is amongst the highest out of all developed OECD nations.
I mean, well, how can we stop this from happening? What is being done to actually rectify this?
Right. So education on the part of the driver and the pedestrian are both absolutely pertinent. So
맞아요.
of course, I mean, we have talked a lot here, elsewhere with me, about the right turns and South Korea potentially maybe not having the best pedestrian awareness when it comes to stopping at crosswalks. I had to stare down a guy just coming here, or girl, who knows, stare down a driver as they were inching onto the crosswalk as
Yeah.
I, a pedestrian, was walking on it. I'm like,
But
sir.
you enjoyed it though, right?
Oh, I was
You're
like, no, I had my camera ready. I'm like, you cross, and I'm taking a video, and we're gonna see you in court. Well, not
If it
court,
was
but
me, I
yeah.
would have moved even slower.
Sometimes I just stand, like if someone's driving and they're driving and it's very clearly red light,
Yeah.
green man on the crosswalk, and then they're driving, and they kind of screech a little bit to a halt, and I just stand in front of the car and stare in the window. I'm walking here.
Walk in here, right? And only if those windows weren't tinted.
I know.
Right.
But
I wanna
at the
make eye
same time,
contact.
I, as a driver, have also had to screech stop in the middle of the road,
Yeah.
not by a crosswalk, because you can't cross here. This is a middle of like a 4-lane road in one direction.
Why are you running across the road?
Why?
맞아요.
No, because they're like 70. They weren't running. They were like no offense, but they were like very slowly walking. And
Yeah.
like, Grandpa, you can't do that.
Yeah, this is something that I was going to ask you if you had any numbers of like what causes these fatal accidents, if it's
Yeah.
more on
Right.
like, the driver's side or if like
I
these
don't have
elderly are,
the
like,
exact figures,
Yeah.
but just speaking completely with personal experience, I mean, I have not figuratively run into reckless drivers more so than reckless jaywalkers, but that's not to say that people don't not jaywalk.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, a young woman very tragically died.
right.
Just here in Centum.
Yeah.
After jaywalking, and it was a collision with, I think, a forklift truck. And
my gosh.
neither of them were paying attention.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is something that we've talked about many times. The phone issue, like looking at a smartphone walking across the road. But I find that probably the elderly are not looking at their smartphones and walking across the road. Like generally speaking, I don't
They
see
usually are
elderly
not,
people
no.
looking at cell phones and walking down the street.
Yeah.
But I do see drivers looking at their cell phone and driving their cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the case too. So definitely education, training, and the police,
Yeah.
they are going to conduct more frequent crackdowns in these accident-prone areas. And that applies to both vehicles and jaywalkers.
맞아요.
Please drive safe and
Yes.
walk safe.
Go, please, please, please. Well, thank you so much for those, of course, those numbers. What's next?
All right, so Busan City, starting next year, we're going to have to pay more to waste for sewage, to
Oh.
expel waste. That's weird.
So pay more for flushes?
You
We
pay
have to
more for flushes,
pay
yeah.
more to poop. Pay to poop? Is that what it's
Oh,
called?
goodness. This is a classy establishment, Laura.
You should have been here yesterday.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I'm
Was
afraid.
not. I got messages on my personal phone
Telling you to
saying,
pipe it down?
I really enjoyed that bit you did with Minsu.
Oh no.
I mean, if they enjoy it, we'll do more.
I'm
of
gonna
it.
have to watch again.
But we're actually gonna.
We're going to be
but this is
talking about
news.
like
Yes,
But this is
legit
news,
like
yes.
excrements. So Busan City has made a legislative announcement for its revision on the city's sewer usage rate. So under this bill, all households and businesses will see an 8% uptick in sewer usage fees per ton every year for the next 3 years. So it's not just next year, it's the year after and the year after that. So an average, this is shocking. Speaking of TMIs, God, an average household expels about 20 ton of sewer waste. And their monthly rates will go up from 10,300 won per month this year. That's the average, to 11,200 won next year. And by 2026, at the end of this 3-year price uptick, they will pay 13,300 won per month.
Is that 20 tons of sewer waste per month or per year?
I think that's per year.
Okay, please let it be per
Yeah,
year.
that has to be per year. My
Per
goodness,
month?
per
What are you-
month.
what are you
What are we?
eating?
Yeah, what are we doing?
So public institutions are going to see an even bigger uptick.
So good news, it's not just private citizens. So because right now for non-private usage, there are 2 different pricing systems. So there's public usage for public institutions and private businesses. But starting next year, these fees will be merged under one system, and public institutions will basically have to pay double the cost of what they do now. So an official from Busan City said that this is unfortunately inevitable because usage fees have not gone up. They have frozen in the past 5 or 4 years, but the cost of sewage treatment has skyrocketed. So the changes will go into effect starting January of next year. So if you see a slight bit of an increase in your monthly utility bill, now you know why, but that's January of next year.
I feel like these days I'm gonna be like calculating in my head every time like I were to like flush the toilet or something.
Oh
Or,
yeah, that was
turn
like
on my
100
sink.
won. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was like a 200 won.
Yeah, I guess.
But it costs money.
It does.
Costs money to do that. And by the way, I'm very happy to pay for that service.
맞아요.
And I mean,
know?
compared to other countries, Korea's you have it relatively good in
Right.
Korea.
So
very
for some
happy to
people
pay
out
for
there,
that.
maybe less courtesy flushes.
Yeah, if you don't need to flush,
Don't
flush.
Yeah, don't.
waste
Yeah,
the water.
in public buildings too. Like that's such a waste of water.
I feel like there
on
should
top
be
of
a
everything.
PSA that BFM should make.
You can write it.
Like, do less
and
courtesy
announce
flushes.
it.
Right?
Oh, do you know
this
what?
is sponsored by
Sound
BFM.
effects. We need sound effects. Okay, we've got time for a final one, just real quick.
Okay, mosquitoes. There are going to be more mosquitoes, and they're going to be earlier. That's it. I'm out. I'm going to go kill some mosquitoes.
I'm already
Laura, once again, this is a
covered in-
classy establishment as she has her feet on the table.
아니 근데 저는 요즘 목이 덜 보이는 것 같아서 그런데.
진짜? In
다
my
로라
teeth, there's like
무드무드무드로 가서
엄청
물러가서.
묻었다.
Really?
엄청 물었어.
I'm not seeing as much as I did, let's say, like last summer around this time.
You're lucky. I have, I'll tell you guys this later, but numbers first. So because we've had like the warmest March, April, even mid-June, average temperatures in June, it's reaching about 22 degrees Celsius, probably higher now. Mosquitoes actually, they don't like it when it's too hot. The perfect temperature mosquitoes, weirdly enough, is the temperature I like, is between 25 and 27 degrees Celsius.
Is that what you and mosquitoes have in common
Yeah,
right now?
that's what we have in common, I guess. Ew. But so if it's actually raining or if it's too hot above 30 degrees Celsius, it's too hot for them. But if it's just nice and toasty and muggy, they're just going to be coming swarming about. And that's the sweet spot we're living in right now.
Stupid mosquitoes. My husband loves to smash them. Loves
Does
it.
he have the electric nets?
No, he does it with his hand, and 90% of the time he doesn't get it. But he loves it. He's like, come on. It's
By
like
the
a
way,
ninja
I
dance for
learned,
him.
maybe our listeners know about it because you're all smarter than I am, but if you like crack open your windows, there's a gap between window pane number 1 and window pane number 2, and the mosquitoes can actually find their way between that gap. If you're on our NotTube, I'm like emphatically gesturing. But if you have it all the way open, because then the frame of the windows are right beside each other, there's no gap for the mosquito to come in.
So if you're gonna
Yeah.
open the window, open it all the way.
All the way.
오, 이거는 몰랐어요. Life hack.
TMI, but
Life hack.
TMII, too much informative information.
아니요, 이런 건 좋은 information입니다.
감사합니다.
I'm so itchy.
Yeah, we have a message from 9085님. 부산 인구가 많이 줄었네요. 놀랬습니다. 90년대 말에 400만 명이 있었던 것으로 기억합니다.
Wow.
We're like gone down like a million from like
A
2
million,
decades ago.
right.
That's
horrible.
It is very concerning.
Yeah.
Well, Haley, thank you so much for the TMI, but very TMII, as you said. Have a good week. We'll see you back here next week.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, it's time for us to say cheerio for the first half of the show. We've got another half coming up for you at 7 o'clock. But in the meantime, this is If You're Wondering If I Want You To, I Want You To. Why is it so confusing? What are you doing to me?
I love the
This is
title.
Weezer. We'll see you at 7.
Smeared mascara, I looked into your eyes and saw a light. You told me stories about your chickadees. They didn't like BB guns or stupid archery. You charmed the lifeguard, he let them use the pool all day for free. Then the conversation stopped and I looked down at my feet. I was next to you and you were right there next to me. Then I said, girl, if you're wondering if I want you to, I want you to. So make a move, 'cause I ain't got all night. The rest of the summer was the best we ever had. We watched Titanic and it didn't make us sad. I took you to Best Buy, you took me home to meet your mom and dad. Your mom cooked meatloaf even though I don't eat meat. I dug you so much, I took some for the team. Your dad was silent, his eyes were fixed to what was on TV. Then the conversation stopped and I looked down at the ring. Your folks were next to you and you were right there next to me. Then I say, girl, if you're wondering if I want you to.
지그재그로 움직인대.
누가?
척추 라인에 맞춰서 움직인대.
누가?
누구긴 누가 엔모션 프로지. 척추를 지그재그로 틀어 꾹꾹 눌러주는 움직임. 누가의 시그니처 모션. 누가 베스트 엔모션 프로. 가까운 누가페에서 만나요. 의료기기 광고입니다.
Transforming our world. Navigating toward a better future. The great transformation begins right here in Busan through the 2030 Busan World Expo. Busan will set a new course toward a better tomorrow for the Earth and for humanity. So we need your support to start a new movement.
I support.
지지합니다.
I support. I support.
지지합니다.
I support. I support.
Busan, the city where you can experience nature, technology, and people. The one and only 2030 Busan World Expo awaits you.
See you right here in Busan.
See you right here in Busan. This campaign is brought to you by BFM, 부산영어방송.
SNS 매너 권법을 익혀라. 조상권. 타인의 얼굴을 보호하는 스티커 매너 저작권. 합법적인 음원 체크. 이것이 SNS 고수의 매너 권법. 국익광고협의회.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
꼬리에 꼬리를 무는 품격 있는 토크. 시끄러워 죄송합니다. 로라 민수의 인사이드 아웃 부산.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Thank you for joining us here. It is the second half of Inside Out Busan. I'm Laura McCluskey.
And I'm Minsu Shin. Second hour, the chill hour of Inside Out Busan. So we say.
Yeah.
So we say.
We do. Insu Neem texting in. Hi, Laura. Hi, Minsu.
Hi.
Hiya.
Oh, that was it?
That was it. That's all.
But still, hi.
Hiya.
좋습니다. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
We've also we're on the internet live streaming.
Yes,
So you
right.
can come and join us on YouTube.
On our YouTubes,
Your
we
faces.
have a lot of people thanking Haley, right, for the very useful
Yeah.
information that she was providing us. Yeah, life hack stuff, especially for mosquitoes. I feel like this is like, that's what makes summer so difficult for some people to get through. It's because of the mosquitoes.
Stupid mosquitoes.
Right.
Anyway.
네, we always like to start off the second hour of our show with On the Mic.
On the Mic. This is where our reporters head out into the wild of Busan and they interview you, our listeners. So let's see who's on the mic today.
안녕하세요. 리포터 제니입니다. 여러분들은 약속에 늦었을 때 가장 먼저 떠오르는 것은 무엇인가요? 저는 택시가 가장 먼저 떠오르는 것 같습니다. 정말 급하거나 혹은 새로운 곳으로 여행을 떠났을 때 택시는 정말 없어서는 안 되는 이동수단이 됩니다. 그래서 오늘은 택시 운전기사님을 모시고 이야기 나눠보겠습니다. 안녕하세요.
예, 안녕하세요. 저는 개인 택시를 운영하고 있는 박만호라고 합니다. 예.
네, 반갑습니다.
네, 반갑습니다.
네, 택시 운전을 시작하신 지는 몇 년 정도 되셨나요?
예, 올해로서 한 11년 차 됩니다. 예.
굉장히 오래 운전을 하신 베테랑 기사님이신 것 같네요.
아, 그렇지 않습니다. 예.
네, 택시 운전을 하시기 전에는 또 어떤 다른 일을 하신 게 있나요?
예, 택시 하기 전에는 사진관을 운영했습니다. 그런데 이제 이 점차적으로 아날로그에서 디지털로 바뀌다 보니까 사진관 운영이 점차적으로 어려워지지 않겠나 하는 생각에서 제 개인적인 시간을 잘 활용할 수 있는 직업이 뭘까 했을 때 개인 택시가 좋지 않겠나 해서 직업을 그렇게 바꿨습니다. 예.
택시 기사라고 하면 아무래도 내비게이션만큼 부산의 지리를 잘 알고 계실 것 같은데 이렇게 다니시면서 새로운 길들을 또 발견하시기도 하고 그렇게 하신가요?
예. 제가 부산에서 60년 넘게 살았는데 어릴 때부터 다니던 길과 또 그 길이 바뀌어서 새로 난 길들도 많이 있습니다. 그런데 요즘은 그 내비게이션이라는 그 장비가 이렇게 새로 난 길들을 아주 빠르게 이렇게 입력시켜 주더라고요. 그 내비게이션이란 좋은 기계를 잘 활용하면 좋은 운전을 할 수 있을 것 같습니다. 예.
아, 그러시군요. 60년이나 사셨는데 정말 베테랑 기사님이 아니라고 할 수 없겠네요. 네, 그렇다면 이렇게 정말 다양한 손님들을 많이 태워보셨을 것 같은데 기억에 조금 유난히 남는다 하는 그런 손님이 있으실까요?
아, 예. 아주 특별한 손님을 봤습니다. 보통 일반 사람들이 하기 힘든 행동을 하였는데 밤에 이제 회사에서 직원들과 이렇게 회식을 하고 약주도 조금 하신 것 같아요. 그래 자기 집으로 이제 퇴근하는 길인데 이제 외국인 여성분이었어요. 그런데 부산에 있는 해운대 센텀시티에서 손님이 타고 제송동 쪽으로 자기 집으로 가셨는데 가는 도중에 아마 멀미가 났는지 구토를 하시는 것 같더라고요. 그런데 그 구토를 자기 핸드백을 열어서 그 안에다가 구토를 하는 걸 봤을 때, 야, 전 그런 사람 처음 봤습니다. 예, 아주 택시에 피해를 안 주고 자신의 핸드백에 구토하는 것이 아주 인상이 깊었습니다.
네, 그렇다면 이제 마지막 질문입니다. 마지막 질문인 만큼 이제 듣고 계신 청취자분들이 미래에 우리 기사님의 손님이 또 될 수도 있을 거라고 생각을 하는데 그런 분들께 전하고 싶은 말씀 한마디 있을까요?
예, 또 요즘은 또 이 모바일 콜을 받아서 이렇게 손님을 기다리는 경우가 많습니다. 그런데 이렇게 오랫동안 기다리는데도 늦게 이렇게 손님이 승차하셔서 하시는 말씀이 기사님 제가 조금 늦었는데 아주 급하거든요. 빨리 좀 가주세요. 막 밟아주세요. 이러는데 저희들은 손님을 안전하게 목적지까지 모시다 드리는 것이 저희들 책무이기 때문에 이 손님들께서는 그런 점 조금 이해하시고 좀 일찍 좀 시간을 좀 맞춰주시면 감사하겠고요. 부산뿐이 아니고 외국에서 부산에는 외지에서 이렇게 관광차 손님이 많이 오십니다. 그런데 조금 손님이 혹시 기사가 좀 길을 이렇게 일부러 돌아서 가서 차비가 더 많이 나오게 하지 않나 하는 의심을 받는 그런 의심하는 경우도 조금씩 있습니다. 그런데 그런 걸 이제 없애기 위해서 저희들은 내비게이션을 딱 틉니다. 손님이 목적지를 말하면 그럼 내비게이션 하는 대로 가면은 아, 이 기사분이 돌아가지 않는구나 하는 걸 느낄 수 있을 테니까 웬만하면 내비게이션을 틀고 손님 목적지까지 모시다 드리고 있습니다. 예.
네, 그러시군요. 굉장히 어떻게 보면 편견이라고 할 수도 있고 조금 오해가 쌓일 수도 있는 부분인데 이렇게 말씀해 주시니까 저희가 훨씬 더 이제 앞으로는 잘 이런 부분들을 생각을 해서 택시를 또 이용을 할 수 있을 것 같습니다. 오늘 함께 해주셔서 감사합니다.
예, 감사합니다. 좋은 하루 되세요.
Oh, thank you so much, Jenny, for that lovely interview. And Park Man-ho-nim.
네, who's been a taxi driver.
Yeah, for 11 years.
11 years, that's a long time to do just any job, right?
Yeah.
But he mentioned he used to run a photo studio, now doing private taxi. But he's 진짜 선배 of Busan. He's been in the city for 60 years. So basically born and raised here.
대단하다.
Right? So, of course, if you've lived here for 6 decades, you're going to know the roads and alleyways like the back of your hand.
Yeah.
Right?
I love that.
맞아요.
I love it when you get in the car and the taxi driver knows where to go outside of the GPS. And he's like, 이쪽으로 갈까?
Yeah.
And he's like backing up and down and round and yeah, I love that.
You know, I always like it because as a person that, knows a good amount of the city roads, and like, you go into a taxi and like taxi's gonna assume like maybe you're not a driver. That's why you're using their services. But like me knowing most of the roads here in Busan, I always liked it when taxi drivers like they ask you or they let you know beforehand that they're gonna go this way. Because I feel like there are a lot of instances where some passengers kind of get duped into like having their driver take a long way. So they're kind of like getting like they're like taking away their money, obviously stealing their money. But
exactly.
Yeah, I feel like when taxi drivers do that, they give you like a sense of security.
Yeah.
When you're in their car.
I felt really sad about this, and this is something that I could relate to. One of the most memorable moments of his career so far, a passenger who was drunk, who happened to be a foreign person, vomited in the taxi, but vomited into his own bag.
맞아요.
So I've done this.
Oh, you've
vomited into my own. I wasn't drunk. I was sick. I was really sick.
Okay.
And I was house sitting my friend's house while he was in Canada. And I went from his house, and I think I ate something in the fridge. I ate leftovers. And then I was on the way back to my house in Glasgow. Like, it was the same Glasgow city, but different ends of the city. And I just suddenly felt this really, because I was sitting in the back, I get malmi anyway, really strong urge to be sick. And I was like, I'm going to be sick. And so I just took my bag. Because I had a bag of laundry from his house. I said I would wash it. So I puked on his laundry.
Oh, no. Okay.
And the taxi driver was like, oh. I was like, no.
I wouldn't know
okay.
what to do.
I feel sick. Sorry, I just puked in my bag. And he's like, huh? And I was like, it's okay.
Oh, but thank goodness.
But
right?
the driver of this situation said he thought the taxi customer had manners.
Yeah, I mean that's what I would think too. Like, and especially like if the passenger left and didn't even like he would check the back and doesn't see like a drop of anything.
Yeah.
Right. I would definitely be thankful.
Yeah. I mean, sure. I don't know. You still don't want to have that smell in your car, though.
맞아요. Exactly. His lasting message, any, users, riders of taxis, he says, especially customers from other cities, they occasionally misunderstand and think that taxi driver is taking a longer route. So this is what I was talking about. So to avoid any misconceptions, he strictly follows the navigation system, the GPS, and he urges them to feel at ease while using the taxi service here in Busan. I feel like that's so important, right? Because you hear all these horror stories about taxi drivers and passengers and whatnot. So to give especially visitors of our city a sense of security, I love that he takes time to do that.
Yeah,
with his
absolutely.
customers.
And as well, there's lots of fantastic apps that you can use these days. And, the taxi drivers, not just in Busan, but across, lots of places.
맞아요.
All across the world.
Right.
They're doing a really tough job. So be kind to your taxi drivers.
맞아요. We have Super Party Pooper님 saying, oh, so poor story. 불쌍하다 이렇게 말하는 것 같아요.
불쌍하지.
Right? You're talking about the throw-up story, right?
Yeah.
Pooper님? Yeah.
Pooper. Hey, poops. Do you know what? It's Super Party Pooper님 that has caused all of this other chat.
Like he's like he or she, I'm not exactly sure. Like the catalyst for a lot of these back and forth with everybody in the chats, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, well, Party님, keep it up.
Keep it up.
We like it.
Poops.
Thank you so much to our reporter Jenny and to Mr. Park Man-ho. That was today's On the Mic.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
Shall we have a song?
Song break.
What are you going to play?
I guess to all the taxi drivers out there, this is Zion T with 양화대교.
우리 집에 매일 나 홀로 있었지. 아버지는 택시 드라이버 어디냐고 여쭤보면 항상 양화대교. 아침이면 머리맡에 놓인 별사탕에 라면 땅에 새벽마다 퇴근하신 아버지 주머니를 기다리던 어린 날의 날 기억하네. 엄마 아빠 두 누나 나는 막둥이 귀염둥이 그날의 날 기억하네 yeah. 행복하자 우리 행복하자 아프지 말고 행복하자 아프지 말고 그래 내가 돈을 다 보내 엄마 빼고만 했었는데 우리 엄마 아빠도 강아지도 이제 나를 바라보내 전화가 오네 내 어머니네 뚜루루루 아들 잘 지내니 어디냐고 물어보는 말에 나 양화대교 엄마 행복하자 아프지 말고 좀 아프지 말고 행복하자 아프지 말고 그래 그때는 나 어릴 때는 아무것도 몰랐네 그 다리 위를 건너가는 기분을 어디시냐고 여쭤보면 아버지는 항상 양화대교 이제 난 서있네 그 다리 위를 아프지 말고 행복하자 아프지 말고
Oh, I do love Zion T.
Yeah, Zion T with Yangadegyo, a chill little number.
Yeah.
So we continue on with the second hour of our show. Hello, everybody.
I'm going to take a nap now. I've had an ice cream. I've had some Zion tea. I'm ready for bed.
Right, Laura, we still have 45 minutes to go.
Okay.
Hold on to your horses. How are you doing tonight?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good.
That's it?
End of show.
Okay. Let's look at the weather.
Yes.
It's currently averaging 24 degrees Celsius here in beautiful Busan. Morning lows of 20, afternoon highs of 26. Mostly sunny skies tomorrow morning and throughout the day. Decent air quality. UV rays will be very high, so make sure you have sun protective items with you and on you. Avoid outdoor activities for extended periods of time. 내일은 맑은 하늘을 보실 수 있는데 자외선 지수가 매우 높겠습니다. 그래서 조심하세요, 여러분.
네. Onto our traffic, we have congestion on 구만덕로 from Mandok Junction going towards Mandok Tunnel number 1. So basically all of Mandok there's congestion. Also congestion on 중앙대로 from Samyeon Junction going towards 범내골 Junction. Slow moving traffic on 동평로 from Hamajong Junction, Laura's favorite junction, going towards 정묘사 Temple. We have actually a couple reports of accidents. We have a 3-car collision on Pyeonglo going towards the city center. It's past Orion Tunnel. So that's why there might be a lot of backed up traffic there. Also, 2-car collision right in front of Busan Station. So on 중앙대로 from Choryang Junction going towards Yeongju Junction. Everybody,
drive safe.
부탁드립니다. 네. Over on our YouTubes, we have Pooper님 saying, yes, I did the same thing when I was very younger. Same thing. Oh, does he mean by yakking in the car?
Yakking in the car.
Is that something like a rite of passage for all, like everybody?
I think It's just, it just happens. I remember my son was in the back of the car when he was about 4.
Yeah.
And I heard a strange noise. And I was on the motorway, I was on the highway.
Oh, no.
And I turned round and he was covered in vomit.
근데
And I was just like, I couldn't stop.
Yeah.
Because
맞아요.
if it was choking, I would have pulled over and stopped and got out.
Yeah.
But he was just like, Mommy. I was like, oh, buddy, you're just going to have to wait.
So this you remind me of a story. So for me, this was when my daughter this was like her first sickness ever, right? I think she like drank something weird or didn't just sit well with her, and this was her first time actually yakking. But like as an infant, like you yak but you don't know what's going on, obviously, as a baby, right? But now she was like 2 going on to 3,
Yeah.
and like she knows stuff, and like she's like, what is happening with me? So when like stuff was just coming out of her nose and her mouth, she was like looking wide-eyed at me, like what's going on, right?
Oh, little button.
Yeah, and I did take her in the car, and she happened to go again in the car. Yeah, but like most of her like clothes caught it, thank goodness, right?
Not your car.
Right? Because
Thank goodness my daughter was only sick on herself and not
that
on my
was a
car.
mess that I was not willing to clean up. No,
Gross.
I was. But this is something I'm sure a lot of parents had experienced, right?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Well, Laura, it's Tuesday.
It is Tuesday,
Right.
and can I just say that our YouTube comments are always blowing up, and it's largely due to Dr. Liu. And he's in the studio right now already making Ade jokes on this thing. So I feel like we need to get him to Junction Taryo
맞아요.
and do this segment.
Shall we?
Welcome back, everybody. It's time for Dr. Liu's 인사의학.
덕들을 위해 인사의학.
Dr. Liu, 안녕하십니까?
안녕하십니까? 네.
Let me get you on the camera.
Yeah,
with
we're
us.
on the camera.
Oh, there we go. Oh, where'd you go?
Can you move a little
Dr.
bit?
Liu, where's your face?
Can you move a little
Where's
bit
your face?
to this side?
There
you
you
Bring
go.
the microphone with you. There we go.
Right. 우리는 항상 카메라 기준으로 방송합니다,
Yeah.
Dr. Liu.
Okay, 알겠습니다.
How are you today?
I'm fantastic. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Good. I'm trying to be good.
Thank you for
always
being so
good.
patient with us here in the studio, because you were here like right at the top of the show or the second hour.
It's because he brought us ice cream.
I know he did.
장수, longevity. Because the reason why I'm so patient is because I got to see a lot of patients.
I see.
Oh,
So I should be patient.
so you should be patient.
Yeah.
As you see many patients.
Yes,
right.
right.
Yeah.
썰렁하죠.
The code of the doctors.
여러분 날씨가 너무 더워서 좀 제가 썰렁하게 했어요.
아니 괜찮습니다. 네.
날 썰렁해야지 좀 시원할 수 있을 것 같아서.
맞아요.
아, 예.
I'm feeling a breeze now.
오케이.
Dr. Liu here in the studio.
시원하네.
아주 시원합니다. Well, let's get more 시원해. We do like to start off your segment with an 아재 개그. don't we?
Actually, I haven't prepared anything for this segment. But I'll tell you what, speaking of vomiting, it reminds me of a lot of stories that my son had.
Ah, okay.
Okay, the other day, my son was so thin, and then he weighs about 20 kilograms. But my wife always forced him to eat a lot of things. So 너 현민아 너 23kg 되면은 내가 뭐 사줄게, 내가 뭐 해줄게 이렇게 한번 했거든요.
네.
So one day he drank a lot of milk.
Oh.
And then he went to his bathroom gauge and then checked his weight. And then he drank. And then he said, Mommy, I hit 23.
He drank 3 kilograms of milk.
Actually, he was on the rise of on the rise of getting his weight. But anyway, at the time, I think he drank almost a liter of milk. And then right after he hit 23, and then he puked.
Yeah. That's a lot of fluid in your tummy.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he won it anyhow. 그다음에 또 재미있는 스토리는 지난번에 샤워가 the sewage system was backing up, so the water was like a flooding in the bathroom. So my son, and I said, 야, 이거 배수가 안 돼. You know what my son said to me?
What?
배수가 안 되면 약수나 분수나 소수로 하지. 근데 이거
There we go. That's what we were waiting for.
So I was totally contaminated her. I contaminated him. So he was totally polluted by me
Oh my
doing 아재개 이거.
Like father, like son.
그랬어요. 그래서
Must
I like
be
it.
진짜요. 감사합니다.
I
must
like
be in the
it.
genes, Dr. Dio.
Yeah.
Super Party Pooper name texting in on the YouTube saying, Yo, Dang Yu. Dang Yu.
당유.
That's your nickname now.
Yeah, 닥터유, 닥털도 있던데요. 닥털, 좋아요.
네.
Because I always wanted to be hairy because my hairs are so scanty and scarcey. Anyhow, that's too MI. Anyhow,
A little bit.
Okay.
인사의학, Dr. Yu. That's what you're here for, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's what you're here for. Just making sure.
Yeah.
Covering, just concerns, when it comes to our everyday health with you here in the studio. So what do you got for us today?
오늘은 냉방병이에요.
냉방병. 벌써 집에 에어컨 틀었다 안 틀었다?
안 틀었어요.
아직 안 틀었어요?
네.
What about you?
I haven't personally, but my husband and son are like, 왜 이렇게 덥노? 왜 이렇게 덥노?
저희들도 틀었어요. 그런데
진짜.
작은 에어컨을 틀었어요. Because most houses they have the 벽걸이 and the stand.
시스템.
근데 시스템은 좀 그럴 수 있겠다, right? 그건 컨트롤 못하잖아. 그래서 요즘 뭐냐면 습하니까, like the temperature is okay. 습해서 에어컨을 틀게 되거든요.
맞습니다.
So there's might be a lot of people out there that are already turning on their ACs, and if you're under it for too long, here in Korea, you get what's called 냉방병.
예, 냉방병을 찾아보니까요.
네.
It's a Korean coined term, actually. 우리나라만 쓰더라고요. 거북목 증후군도 우리나라만 쓰고 forward neck syndrome이라고 그러고 turtleneck syndrome. In Western other European countries they don't use that term. 냉방병 찾아보면 air conditioning itis래요.
Air conditioning and
air conditioning
and the conditioning itis. ITIS가 붙으면 염증을 말하는 거예요. appendicitis가 맹장이
like
아니고,
itis,
hepatitis, 그래서 간염이고, 뭐 이런 거죠.
네.
itis 하면은 네, 냉방병.
Coined by Korea.
I think so.
Yeah, interesting.
그래서 I googled it. Only Korean newsletters, news reports are saying this term.
I've heard this is only a phenomenon that happens here in Korea.
You're telling me that Koreans made it up.
Yeah. I think we made it up, and also the reason why we made it up is I think it's to do with genetics. Don't quote me on that. It's just my official.
Your opinion.
You just guess.
Yeah, my guess.
Yeah.
In northern part of let's look at our Earth, the high latitude area, like a North Pole and a South Pole. What kind of ethnicities are habitating in that area? Caucasian or darker skin ethnicity or brown or yellow skin ethnicity.
Like what country? Wait, what country?
Like in Atlanta라면 북극이나 남극이나 아니면 추운 지방에 사는 사람들. 그런 그 인종들이 어떤 인종들이 많을까요? 백인일까요? 황인일까요? 흑인이 많을까요?
When I think that, I think I always think like Nordic countries. So like like white European.
맞아요.
Or okay.
그래서 Caucasians are very immune to their cold and harsh environments. 하지만 적도 equatorial area에는 어떤 사람들이 많죠? 대부분 Equatorians.
Along the equator.
Equator.
I mean equator. Equator is a country.
Equator. Yes, equator.
The equator.
Equator.
That's a transformer name. Equator.
Equator, transform. But like along the equator, so we have more like, especially like in like Eastern Asia,
그렇죠.
along with like Korea,
맞아요.
right? Like Thailand, Vietnam, like Laos, and those countries, like similar, like along the equator, India, right?
So these days in Korea, our country is getting more a lot of attractions. Popularity goes out here in the world, so that's why a lot of expats are living in here in Korea. And then during this humid season, even in the fall season or some cold season, I easily bump into some tall and Caucasians wearing shorts and just t-shirts and even just wearing tank tops. But when I bumped into some 동남아 쪽에 있는 사람들이나 아니면은 약간 아프리카나 이런 쪽에 따뜻한 지역에 있는 사람들은 they're wearing long sleeves and they're wearing jackets.
맞아요.
예, 그래서 그 사람들은 선천적으로 좀 더위에 좀 임미연돼 있다. 더위에 좀 잘 견디고 그렇지 않은 이제 서양인들 같은 경우는 아니면 서양인들과 백인들 같은 경우에는 조금 더위에 좀 못 견디고 추위를 좀 잘 견디죠.
네.
근데 이거 제 학교에서 들었어요. When I was in American college, one of my professors he was talking about alcohol dehydrogenase and then alcohol stuff. The Caucasians they have genetically they have a high level of alcohol dehydrogenase, which means they digest a lot of the alcohol rather than we do. 그래서 동양인들이나 흑인 쪽보다는 그런 막 hairy like Santa Claus like shape, their ethnicity are very strong when it comes to drinking alcohol. 그래서 술을 많이 먹으니까 또 그게 대해서 더 튼튼할 수가 있고 추위에 대해서 강할 수가 있는 거죠. 그렇기 때문에 근데 동양인들은 그 중간에 있잖아요. 우리들은.
네.
그리고 사계절이 있어요. 끊임없이 변해요. Continuously, we are changing seasons. We have, so that's why we are very predisposed to this 냉방병.
Okay. So let's get into then, as this is a condition, right? That Korea, that's very specific to Korea. It's like, then is it just because being under the air conditioner too long? Is that what is causing air conditioning-itis?
Yeah, that's one of the causes, but actually it's caused by autonomic nervous disturbance because we have our biological clock. When you are exposed to hot, humid situation, you need to lose your heat body, you need to lower your core body temperature. What our surface skin does is the vessels underneath our skin, they dilate. They have to expel. They have to, emit their. They have to expel, evacuate their heat. But during the winter season, in order to keep our core body temperature high, we have to shrink our vessels in our under skin. So that's why our skin gets toughened during the winter season. 하지만 이렇게 so adapting system it takes about several days or even weeks. But when you are in a cold situation, hot, humid situation, and cold, dry situation, very often during the day, a lot of times, so many times, it disrupts our biological clock and it disrupts our autonomic nervous system.
So if like the temperature that you are like in, if that changes like drastically, right,
맞아요.
from like moving from one place to another, and if that happens frequently in the day,
You need to acclimatize. You need time to acclimatize, right? You need to get used to it. Also, I heard that it can be from bacteria.
맞습니다. I was going to say you took the
really?
right word, right?
sorry,
You
sorry.
read my
Jumping on,
mind.
Laura.
Sorry.
You have to open your fortune teller
짱이네,
for
짱.
seeing. Yes, you have to open your clinic like for
So
seeing.
woke.
Yes.
Yeah. Wait, no, it's not what I am.
뭐냐면 박테리아 생기는 경우가 있어요. 미국에서 옛날에 한번 문제가 된 적이 있었어요. Actually, it's called Legionnaire disease. 레지오넬라라는 균이 있거든요.
네.
이 균이 이제 물 속에 많이 있어요. It lives in our regular water, like sewage system and plumbing system. But when it's gets droplets, when we get droplets out of water, contaminated water with the Legionnaire bacteria, we might get sick. We might end up having bacteria pneumonia or some other serious lung problems. 그래서 한국말로 얘기하면 레지오넬라라는 균이 우리 물속에 많이 있는데 에어컨을 여러분 청소를 잘 안 하다가 한번 딱 틀어보면은 에어컨 필터에 어떤 게 막 있죠. 막 몰도 있죠. 막 이렇게 몰,
네, 곰팡이도
있고.
네.
근데 거기에 또 이제 물이 이제 쌓이게 되면은 그 물이 물 속에 이제 레지오넬라라는 그런 균이 있거든요. 균이 이제 우리가 호흡해가지고 우리가 마셨을 때 특히 나이 드신 분들 면역이 약한 사람들한테는 그게 폐렴을 일으킬 수 있어요.
그렇죠.
예, 그래서 이걸 갖다가 또 냉광병이라 그래가지고 한번 미국에서 오래전에 한 그 군대 막사에서 사람들이 다 걸려가지고 한참 이슈가 된 적이 있었거든요.
우리 최근에 그 코로나 시기 때도 like you had people like sitting like let's say near like who are who had the COVID virus like sitting near air conditioners that ACs they suck the air in and they blow it back out obviously. So even like things like that contaminating the air conditioner and then that's spreading to everybody actually in that room. So that could happen well with that bacteria that you mentioned which could people think that that's what air conditioning itis is?
That's right. So that's why that's one of the reasons why we get a lot of viral infections during the winter time, because we are likely to be cooped up in our facilities or accommodations.
And the heaters on,
the heaters on, and then also we have to maintain a close proximity to our friends. So that's why it's easier for a virus to spread. 그런 게 될 수가 있죠.
Could this lead to like more serious health issues?
대부분은 다 약으로 다 치료가 되는데요.
네.
The sooner the better. 그렇기 때문에 조금이라도 기침이 심하고 열이 나고 그러면 병원에 가서 항생제 맞고 하면 좋은데요. 중요한 거는 언제나 maintaining your health in a good shape. 항상 몸을 건강하게 하는 게 중요할 것 같아요. 그럼 에어컨하고 선풍기 틀고 하는데 선풍기 틀고 죽었다는 얘기 들어보셨어요?
Yeah.
Fan death.
Fan death.
네, fan death.
This isn't this only in Korea as well?
이거 맞아요. 한국만 그렇다고 그래요.
네.
네. 근데
Interesting.
근데 이게요. 한 10여 년 전에 우리나라 정부에서 이 팬데스가 여러 가지 레포트가 있어 가지고
네.
Korean Consumer Products 보호대에다가 프로텍션 보호에다가 이거를 팬데스 할 수 있다고 주의하라고 이렇게 그 명령을 내렸어요. 그래서 그리고 또 1년에 한 몇 케이스씩 보고가 되고 있어요. 근데요.
Really?
예.
Even today?
예, 그래요. 올해는 아직 보고는 안 됐지만은
네.
several years back about 5 or 3 a couple of people died of just they were found dead when they're with their fan on.
Jeez.
네, 근데 we don't know yet because there are some theories, some theories. But I think the fan actually doesn't cause them to die. But I think the underlying causes they might have.
Okay.
They might have before dying, like underlying heart disease or lung problems might be the cause of death. 그래서 하지만은 그래도 well, I think it's always better to be safe than sorry. So I'd rather just open the door. Not open the window, not open the door, open the window, and then just ventilation. I think what I'm getting at is just ventilate your room as much as possible because just recirculating 하면서 그냥 방 안에서 계속 있으면은 바이러스나든지 아니면 이런 것들이 계속 먼지도 쌓이고 하니까 항상 새로운 공기를 하는 게 좋을 것 같고요.
그렇죠.
그리고 이제 되게 술 마시고 난 다음에 이제 선풍기 틀고 자는 경우에 이제 사망하는 경우도 많이 있었거든요.
네.
그렇기 때문에 항상 건강하게 생활하는 게 좋을 것 같고 또 그리고 에어컨 너무 많이 틀지 마시고
네.
그리고 또 물 많이 드시는 게 좋을 것 같고 그다음에 이열치열 fighting fire with fire. 그래서 여러분들 여름에 덥다 그러면은 정말 옷을 막 껴입고 뭐 뜨거운 광산 같은 데서 일을 한다거나 아니면 화로에서 일을 한다거나 아니면 그런 걸 해가지고 나중에 나왔을 때 시원한 느낌을 느낄 수 있으니까 그런 것도 하나의
Just to experience that 시원함.
그런 느끼는 그런 게 좋은 방법일 수 있을 것 같아요. 네.
So I heard now this is I don't know if this is based on actual like this thing happened, but because of long time ago these so-called fan deaths from happening because they were taking place, that's why it had led to a lot of fan making companies putting the timer on their fans.
Very smart.
That's what led to it.
Because Korean government said that you need to put the time clock on when you're.
I need to see some empirical research that says any kind of fan is responsible for death.
Yeah, I mean, like, because I was thinking, I mean, like, maybe, like underlying conditions, that's the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah.
Because I was like, no matter how they built a person's room, even if you have the window shut and the door shut, there's no way, like, oxygen can't be going into that room where a person is passing away due to asphyxiation,
Asphyxiation, yes.
like in the room, right? And the fan just happens to be on, right? Like it's like circulating, it just keeps twirling carbon dioxide in the air.
But no, it's just no.
Yeah.
But scientists have done with these experiments, but they found that it's not possible. And also hypothermia.
Long story short, not possible.
It's not.
Hypothermia is another part, but still it needs to be figured out.
맞아요. 네.
예, 그래서 우리가 밝혀내야 될 텐데 여하간 건강하게 평소에 유지하는 게 중요할 것 같습니다.
그렇죠. 네, 오늘 냉방병 (air conditioning itis)를 대해서 알았는데요. 그래서 요즘 전기세도 좀 더 비싸잖아요. So we might be getting hopefully less reports of 냉방병 here in Korea, right? Due to those
더위병.
더위병. 올해는 냉방병으로 고생하지 않았으면 좋겠고 팬 데스가 없는 그런 레포트가 되는 이런 우리 대한민국이 됐으면 좋겠습니다.
Yeah, I want like bigger like news media outlets like BBC or CNN to get on top of this fan death.
I think they've been on top of it and dispelled it.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
This is a part of the show where we Google things.
Where we Google things.
Dr. Yu, thank you so much. That'll do it for today's 인사 의학. Have a good week.
You too.
Thank you so.
네. Bye.
All right, it's time for a song. We've got a song request from 백주현님. This is Drunken Tiger. 난 널 원해.
낫지 망같지 마치 달콤한 연인같이 하나 되는 우릴 봤지 너를 원해 이 말 전해 나는 너무도 원하는 너만의 눈빛이 내 눈에 정말 너무 원해
나는 너무 저대로 허무 어디서 가지도 않게 할 수도 있어 이제 나 맘에 눈을 감아 아마 너무나 큰 감격에 그런 기쁨에 그래 나는 너무나 행복해
It's what you best is your beauty the complexion low when it's a million playing 2020 from the get-go 그런 애고 and heart melody from the one to the crescent reminiscing about your body feeling blooming deep like the time you dig into me when I'm alone I'm in a love songs baby boo I'm truly yours like honey tip from golf you let me in for pleasure 불러보고 시간 100번 나의 drop controls 나는 널 원해 사랑해 honey 너와 함께 시간 모두 기억하는 너의 모든 걸 나만의 느끼는 사랑 Hang out in the band in the bomb bomb Hey, what my name is the bomb bomb Hey, hang out in the band in the bomb bomb Hey, what my name is the bomb bomb Hey, hang out in the band in the bomb bomb Hey, what my name is the bomb bomb Hey, hang out in the band in the bomb bomb Hey, what my name is the bomb bomb Hey, 같이 익숙한 하지 망같이 마치 달콤한 연인같이 하나 되는 눈을 봤지 너를 원해 이 말 전해 나는 너무도 원하는 너만의 눈빛이 내 눈을 정말 너무 원해 이제 눈 감겨 저절로 나를 반겨 내 품에 안겨 너를 맡겨 그리고 말해보아 터질 것 같은 충동을 느껴 이게 오와 또와 나를 도와 지금이 나는 너무 좋아 사랑하는 허니 그 아니 내 마음 아니 너만한 생각으로 가득 차 있다는 걸 너는 아니 무엇이 그렇게 다내 모습 어디가 네 맘에 그렇게 나 모두가 맘에 안 드나 나는 너무 절대로 허무 어디서 가지도 않게 할 수도 있어 이제 나 맘에 눈을 감아 아마 너무나 큰 감격에 그런 기쁨에 그래 나는 너무나 만족해 Hang in the band in the bomb bomb Hey, what my name is the bomb bomb Hey, hang out in the band in the bomb bomb Hey, what my name is the bomb bomb Hey, hang out in the band in the bomb bomb Hey, what my name is the bomb bomb Hey, hang out in the band in the bomb bomb Hey, what my name is the bomb bomb Hey, 나는 널 원해 사랑해 honey 너와 함께 시간 모두 기억하는 너의 모든 걸 나만의
안녕하세요. 고품격 영어 방송 Inside Out 부산의 품격 있는 Writer Steve입니다. Winners of Inside Out Busan listeners participation segment will get full course meal voucher from Golden Lizzie, a gourmet restaurant in 거제동 and 연산동, where you can taste cuisine from Michelin Guide featured Chef Kim. 미슐랭 셰프의 파인 레스토랑 골든 리지에서 10만 원 외식 상품권. A place to entertain your brain and eyes. Museum of Illusions. 당신의 눈과 뇌를 즐겁게 하는 곳. 뮤지엄 오브 일루전 부산 착시미술관 입장권. 언제나 맛있는 커피를 신선하게 만드는 양산에 위치한 인투 로스터리. Coffee voucher and a pack of fresh coffee whole beans sponsored by Into Roastery in Yangsan. A delicious brunch for two from Gorilla Brewing Busan, Gwangan branch, the leader of Korean handmade beer culture. 수제 맥주 전문점 고릴라 브루잉 부산에서 제공하는 식사권. We prepare admission tickets for the Busan X the Sky Top Floor Observatory, which is located at LCT in Haeundae, the highest place in Busan. 부산 대표 랜드마크 해운대 LCT에 위치한 하늘 위의 바다. 부산 X the Sky 전망대 입장권을 선물로 드립니다. IOB와 함께하는 품격 있는 선물. It's all yours, listeners.
Welcome back. Did you see your face when you're like codfish face?
Yeah. I feel like I was like the one playing like the piano. Right?
My son learns the piano, and I am amazed by how good he is.
Oh.
I can't do it. I feel so amateur when
Tell
I play
him
rubbish.
to stick with it. I regret giving up on the piano so much, and I was around his age when I started learning it. It's because I always wanted to play. Like
Yeah.
I didn't want to learn piano, so my parents just gave up.
Yeah.
It's like fine, do what you want, and they had me quit like piano lessons. I took it for like 6 months.
Yeah.
Oh, but like I think about it now, it's like I wish I
Should have
stuck with
kept
it.
at it. Yeah,
Right.
I try and get him to make him do it 20 minutes a day.
Yeah. Anyways, we are not going to talk about our kids playing instruments.
No.
Time for quote unquote.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Our last segment of the day where we get to share some inspiring, thought-provoking, what other kinds of quotes are there? Infuriating, make you sad, make you cry quotes to make you think.
Motivational.
Right, motivational. There you go. That's what I was looking for.
Inspirational.
맞아요. My turn today.
Yeah.
And I actually brought a quote from Jim Carrey. It's not from any of his movies.
I love Jim Carrey.
Right, Jim Carrey, such a funny actor, but he does serious roles so well.
He does, and he's a very woo-woo kind of guy.
What's woo-woo?
My kind of guy. He's very much like about energy and about the universe, and also like
Exactly. Jim Carrey.
pragmatism.
I was actually surprised. He's very well spoken.
Oh yeah.
Like he knows what he's talking
Oh,
about.
yeah.
Right?
He's
people
so
think
smart.
Yeah, people think, oh, it's Jim Carrey, he needs to be funny. Like tell me a joke, right? But
Yeah.
like in interviews that he does, he's always on his like serious side.
He's one of my heroes, Jim Carrey. He kind of
Interesting.
inspired me to. Could you not tell?
I see it. A little
So,
bit.
I love Jim Carrey. I
Yeah.
love all of his movies, and he gives you, as in the royal you, permission to be yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Permission to be goofy as anything and weird and stupid and silly and all of those things, because he is so comical.
맞아요.
And it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
just do it.
So Jim Carrey being a very funny person as well as being a person that has like a good grasp, on just view of life, I bring his quote for you today. Once again, not from any of his movies, but just something that he has mentioned, right? Behind every great man is a woman rolling her eyes. Once again, the quote reads, behind every great man is a woman rolling her eyes. Words by Jim Carrey. This is a play on the quote that's supposed to go behind every great man is an even greater woman, right? And this is, maybe not so relevant these days because, like equality and everything, right? Why does, everybody should be, whoever's, great should be at the forefront. But when I took this quote said by Jim Carrey, behind every great man is a woman rolling her eyes. I don't necessarily see it as like a woman, but I feel like with this quote, yeah, every great person should have a person that kind of brings them back to reality. So every like person should have somebody that keeps them in check. You know what I mean? Because I think when things come to like things like success, things like stardom, I don't know, like things just going well for you, you might be so caught up in that you lose sight of, I don't know, why you decide to do stuff, and even in the beginning, lose sight of priorities, even, right? Because you're so caught up in, getting rich, becoming popular, right? So I feel like, and it doesn't have to be a woman, it doesn't have to be your wife, it doesn't have to be your girlfriend, it doesn't have to be your mom, just anybody in your life. I feel like you should have at least that one person or like a group to kind of say
정신 차려.
정신 차려, 맞아요, 이거. Right? You know what? Because if a person is rolling their eyes at you, there's like, what are you doing? Right? 그런 표정을 내는 거잖아요. So obviously, you need to be aware of people kind of, I don't want to say judging, but judging you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Judging you, but 맞아요, judging you.
Yeah.
But like, I'm behind my husband all the time rolling my eyes.
Oh, of course, rolling your eyes.
I mean, I support him 100% and everything. And I do a lot for the family that he's unable to do because he's doing other things. Which is funny because I still manage to do all of the things that I do. And so when he comes home and he's like, 너무 피곤해. I'm just like, ugh. 진짜 니는 피곤하지? 아우, 진짜?
See, but maybe it's that for him, like subconsciously, that's what drives him to wake up the next day and do it all over again.
But so that he doesn't have to listen to me, he leaves the house for a lot of hours and works. So he doesn't have to be at home with me. But no, for example, my husband, so my daughter is 9 months old. And she still doesn't sleep through the night, and that's okay. Like, I'm so grateful that she is there and wakes up and needs to feed and all of that. Like, I'm exhausted, but super happy. And so I'm exhausted and waking up and doing, getting the kids off to school and getting the kids ready, breakfast's done. And then as soon as that is finished, I'm doing my own work or studying. And then work and study goes all the way through from 8 a.m. Until 8 p.m. when I finish here. And I come back home and I eat something. And then I get the kids to bed. And deal with homework and deal with bath time and all that kind of stuff. And then from 9:30 until maybe 11 or 12, I'll work or study. And then I'm up all night, sometimes with a baby. And so I'm exhausted, right?
Sure, yeah. I'd be exhausted.
Yes, obviously.
Yeah.
And then my husband stays up with the baby one time. And the next day, he's like,
설마?
너무 피곤하다. 왜 이렇게 피곤하노? 아이고, 너무 피곤하다. 왜 이렇게 피곤하? 낮잠 자야 되겠다.
아니요, 근데 이거는 너무 그냥 한쪽의 이야기다, 근데.
Why does he need to tell me how tired he is when clearly... So I'm behind him like this. Like my eyes are so far rolled back that they have fallen. They can no longer come back forward. They are 270 degrees back in my head.
근데요, 그거 like for me, because like as the husband, right? I notice it, but I'm not. It doesn't. But for me, it doesn't like make me like she doesn't know like what she's saying. She doesn't know what I'm going through, right? But I see that and I take that as more of like as a thing that, yeah, I mean, I'm going through it, but also like you're going through your stuff too. You know what I mean? So I don't know. For me, I get this sense of like I should be patient on my part, and because of course I'm tired, but she's tired too, right? Of course, we do have to hear your husband's side of it and see what he's going through. Like
he says,
when he's...
it's not a competition.
It's not. It's not.
Correct.
Right?
I agree. It's not. No, it's so funny because I always complain that he complains that he's tired. But we function differently, and that's the thing. We're completely different people, so we obviously function differently. And he can do things and be this great man in ways that I couldn't be, and so that I can only support him the way I can support him. So I don't want him to be up during the night because he can't function the next day. So
that's understanding on your part too.
Yeah,
so I see that working.
Be behind him, and I
맞아요.
like to make fun of it. You know, I like to tease him a lot.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to support him so he doesn't have to get up during the night. And I told him that at the beginning. I'll get up every night.
Yeah.
And it works.
Okay. Yeah. Would you say then, with the quote that I brought, behind every great man is a woman rolling her eyes. So for you, that person rolling their eyes, would it be your husband for you?
Behind me?
Yeah. Because, husband and wives should support each other, right?
He wouldn't dare.
You just roll your eyes at me?
But no, he would be. He would be the one who is like, right, but how are you going to make this work? He's also the one that will bring me back down and support me. Like, if you are stressed, take a break.
Yeah.
If you are tired, take a break.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's definitely like, we are very good for each other because I think we're so different, but we both love The Office, and that's how we fell in love. And so we are so good for each other, but we're very, very different, and we help each other that way. And so we are behind each other's backs, rolling our eyes. Yeah,
좋아요.
100%.
For me, that person rolling their eyes at me, of course, we used to be my wife, but these days, it's my daughter-in-law. Oh my gosh. She's like the person that brings me back down to earth.
Yeah.
Like if I'm flying high, like I'm so drunk off myself.
Yeah.
Like she's the one that would grab me by my ankles and have me like crashing down to earth, right? She'll be so
mean
with it. Like the other day, I was like, because I bought this new shirt and I was like, I just want to wear it around. I was like, and she told me, 아빠 오늘 그거 입어? And I don't know, she might be super curious as to, maybe that's her way of saying, that's a new shirt. 아빠 그거 입어? And I took that in the worst way possible. I went, oh my gosh, she hates this shirt, right? 아빠 안 입어. And then I took it off and then I just wore something that she's used to.
Is that the shirt?
No.
Oh.
It's another color variation of it. I think that's what threw her off. There was too many flowers on it.
Yeah.
I think that's why. So, yeah, I think everybody should have a person behind them rolling their eyes at you because it could be a person that really has you grounded. Yeah. And I think that's most important, right? In all relationships.
Let's do that for each other.
네.
We roll our eyes at each other all of the time. Anyway, it's time for us to say cheerio for today. Thank you, Minsu, for today's quote-unquote.
Of course.
Today's show produced by Kim Yoon, written by Im Soo-jin, hosted by Laura McCluckey.
And hosted by Min Soo-shin. Our last track is one you had requested, right?
Deacon Blue, Dignity.
Folks, enjoy. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Walks up our street. He's a worker for the council, has been 20 years, and he takes no lip of nobody and litter off the gutter. Puts it in a bag and never thinks to mutter, and he packs his lunch in a Sunday's bag. The children call him Boogie. He never lets on, but I know 'cause he once told me he let me know a secret about the money in his kitty. He's gonna buy a dinghy, gonna call her Dignity. And I'll sail her up the west coast, through villages and towns. I'll be on the holidays, they'll be doing the rounds. They'll ask me how I got it, I'll say
부산을 한 장의 사진에 담는다면 어디로 가야 할까요? 꼬꼬마 시절 이때만큼은 세상을 내려다보며 꿈을 키웠고 용돈을 모아 산 사진기는 아직도 서랍 속에 있습니다. 시간이 흘러 키는 자라고 사진은 어디서든 찍을 수 있는 세상이 되었지만 부산의 진짜 모습을 보기 위해서는 같이 가볼 곳이 있습니다. 광복동에서 부산을 내려다보며 우리와 함께 해온 그곳. 새롭게 불을 밝힌 다이아몬드 타워와 함께 용두산 공원이 우리를 다시 찾아왔습니다. 북한과 남항, 멀리 남구와 해운대까지 부산을 한눈에 담을 수 있는 그곳. 알록달록 꽃시계와 함께 다시 시민의 품으로 돌아온 용두산 공원은 부산의 또 하나의 명소입니다. 이 캠페인은 대선공익재단과 BFM 부산영어방송이 함께합니다.
저희 중소기업은 광고비가 제일 부담되죠.
코바코에서 TV 라디오 광고비 지원받으세요.
혁신형 중소기업 방송광고 지원 제도로 광고비 70% 할인이나 250% 보너스 광고 지원.
코바코로 문의하세요. 051-751-0400.
Transforming our world. Navigating toward a better future. The great transformation begins right here in Busan through the 2030 Busan World Expo. Busan will set a new course toward a better tomorrow for the Earth and for humanity. So we need your support to start a new movement.
I support.
지지합니다.
I support. I support.
지지합니다.
I support.
Busan, the city where you can experience nature, technology, and people. The one and only 2030 Busan World Expo awaits you.
See you right here in Busan.
See you right here in Busan. This campaign is brought to you by BFM 부산영어방송.
SNS 매너가 무너진 세상. SNS